to be on here tonight. Did you guys love? I loved this chapter. Like loved it so much. So really quick, Jordan and I are just going to go through some of the things that really stood out to us in this chapter. And I really loved the thought of the self-determination theory. It says a crucial aspect of motivation and thriving is autonomy. The more independence and ownership you take for yourself, your circumstances, and your life, the more self-determined you will be. And I think this goes hand in hand with our business, that anytime that we take ownership of our business, our outcome, you're going to be more likely to be self-determined, right? Like you have the intrinsic motivation, which I love that, because this month, I want you guys to think about it, right? Like this month, you have an Apple Watch that you're shooting for, right? And I know that is that external motivation. You're super excited when you woke up on, March 1st and you saw that Apple Watch. You're like, I'm getting that Apple Watch. And I want you guys to have that same motivation next month, right? When there probably isn't going to be an Apple Watch. But I want you guys to have that same excitement for your business, that same determination for your business that you do right now this month. Because the reason why Plexus does these incentives is to catapult your business. It is to bring in new business builders, and it's to foster those relationships well. Sorry, my phone is, hold on. But it's to foster those relationships well so that you can grow a business builder. And so I just want, as you're hearing us tonight, I want you to think about what is it that is going to motivate you next month, right? It doesn't always have to be a dangly carrot that is motivating you, because you have to know why you are here. Okay. So being self-determined means you're intrinsically, not extrinsically, God, motivated. And that's what I just touched on. I love that. And I always tell my team, like, an Apple Watch is not going to change your life. It just won't, right? Like, make the money and go buy your own self an Apple Watch without the stress. And I will tell you that if you continue to put the pedal to the metal, really stay focused. And I love what they talk about, like, stop comparing yourself to other people, and stop looking left and right. And what is it that makes you feel successful? It says it means you're clear on why you want what you want, and it means you're no longer competing with anyone else. How much clarity does that give you guys when you read that? That you're no longer competing with anybody else. Because when you're constantly looking at, like, well, Sarah already earned the Apple Watch. What is she doing? Wow, she earned 2 Apple Watches. Well, what is she doing? I can't get anybody to message me back. Like, I just, blah, blah, blah. You get stuck and you're wasting time when you could be staying laser focused on what moves that needle forward and doing those actions, because we get so sidetracked about what everybody else is doing instead of worrying about what can we do, that one thing that we can do that's going to get us that 1% closer to earning the Apple Watch, to earning the Emerald Trip, to earning, that next income rank. Okay, so I love this one. And Jordan, you can pop in too.
Well,
Yeah,
I highlighted around this too. So can I talk about this one for a second?
for sure. Go for it.
So it's on that same page 35, and it says it said being self-determined means that you decided what success means to you, and you don't need anyone else's permission for what you want for yourself. You don't need to apologize for what you want, and it means you're clear on why you want it and what you want. Okay, I remember when me and Emily and Joanna were going Ruby and Senior Ruby, and Marian Anderson went the same month I did. She went Senior Ruby, and I remember being like, oh yeah, like Marian is the bomb. I'm on the same pace as her. This is awesome. And you guys, she has like 8,000 million ads a month now. Does that mean that I suck? Does that mean that I am no good? No. Like, I am focusing on me, my lane, my girls, my personal goals. And I at no point made her success mean that I sucked. And so, but I also know that along the way, I had my own reference points to measure my success. I knew that Silver Stars was something that I wanted. And so as soon as I wrote down the goal of Silver Stars, my mind immediately went to, okay, well, how do we create more silvers? And I go back and look at the posts from our team page that month. Every post I made on that team page was either to celebrate an ad or to direct some sort of strategy to help other people create silvers, or to help a brand new silver build their belief, right? So like everything I did was focused on making that goal a reality. And so I really love the question on page 34. What are the reference points you measure yourself against? Because like I look at Lauren Davis is on my screen. Like she is one of the most talented humans on this entire call. She is so smart. She is so, yes, don't give me that face. And so I look and I see Emily's potential and what you can do. I see Lauren, like I see Jordan, like I know what y'all are capable of. And so I hope that you are not comparing in any way and you know what you're capable of and you decide what you measure yourself against. And so I really love that because it is so easy to do when you don't have clear goals in front of you. Yeah, Emily.
Can I say one thing? Well, actually, two things. So, do you guys know she's an emerald? Her name's Lindsay Joseph. Do you guys know who she is? She's super cute. Super cute. She's like an up and coming, she's awesome. Well, she posted a story or something a couple of weeks ago, and she has like this rockin' body. She's a mom of 3. She's got this incredible body, but she has this, maybe it's a reel, and it's of where she was before she started Plexus, then like as she was starting to lose weight, and then how she had to go and do some sort of surgery to get rid of a lot of like excess skin that she had, and just like this whole process of what it took to get from where she was to where she is now. And if she wouldn't have shared that, no one would have known, other than like her close friends. So we could be looking at this girl like on the cruise or in Punta Cana, like, she's a female, like, gosh, she looks amazing, but you have no idea what it took for her to get to that place. I also will say, we are seeing left and right all these people who are earning Apple Watches. And I just want to encourage you, you have no idea where people's businesses are. And I put this in the chat of like, comparison is going to poison your mind and it's going to poison your business. And so much of that comparison, you don't even know what you're comparing yourself up against, because I specifically know of certain jewels in our company who've earned multiple Apple Watches, and they're not maintaining their rank. They're not even maintaining the rank underneath them, but we don't know that. And so if we sit here and we compare ourselves of, oh my gosh, I haven't even added 1 and this person's already added 12. So you just don't know what people's stories are. You don't know what they're struggling with, and it's a waste of your time. Love people, celebrate people, but you stay in your own lane and you stay focused on your goals. There's such a heart issue wrapped up in comparison.
And that's legacy business. Like, can we all, everyone here knows you can go add 6 people in a month. We all know we can, right? But at the end of the day, legacy business mindsets, big picture gained mindsets, know where you're going, and not getting an Apple Watch is not the end of the world, right?
And
go do it.
And tough word too. Stop feeling sorry for yourself and go do something about it. I mean, honestly, I think that that's where so much of the comparison comes from. We're not doing things and we're looking side to side and we're feeling sad because all these people are getting wins, but we're not doing anything. So stop feeling sorry for yourself and go take control of the things that you can take control of.
Yeah. And call. We're gonna end there. Great. Thank you, Emily.
I know. I'm like, preach this, honey. Yes. I'm like, and the call's done. Fair enough.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, but it says being in the gap leads to self-determination. And so if you don't feel self-determined right now, then you're probably in the gap. So this is your opportunity to switch that. Okay. Andrea, your turn. Tag.
Okay. I love all of that because I do agree 1,000% with Emily. Like, the time you're wasting on comparing and being down in the dumps, and you're just like, because it freezes you. You literally freeze and you're not doing anything to help you move forward. So like, amen, sister. Love that. Like, seriously, I love it. I love tough love. Okay. So another thing that I always tell my team is you have control over who you let into your circle. You have control over who you see on your social media. So if you're following a bunch of people that make you feel like crap, why? You have permission to unfollow those people. If people are commenting negative things on your post, you have permission to clean up your space and delete your space. I will tell you guys, when I first started this business, I was, of course, scared of what people would think of me, scared of what Sally from high school thought of me, when I literally had not been in high school for years and years and years, and didn't even talk to Sally at the same, whatever. I don't even know like who Sally is, but y'all know, y'all have a Sally, I'm sure. And guess what I did? I cleaned up my Facebook. I went through and I was like, delete, 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 because that was like back in the time where network marketing was like super new, or, like people, they were like, oh, whatever. And I was like, I don't want to see this. Like, I'm trying to stay in the positive. And if you allow negative people in your life, what is that going to do? Just like what Emily said, it's going to stall you. It's going to make you feel sorry for yourself. It's going to have you question, why me? Why am I not there? And I love what they said about social media. It is proven to make you in the gap. Like social media is, they literally feed you things to make you in the gap. Because what happens now, like what happened to the time, like when we are happy with the homes that we live in, right? Now it is like, oh, I need this new trendy thing, or I need this, I need to paint my cabinets white, I need to do this, I need to have this and that and the other. What happened with just being happy in your home, right? Like before social media, y'all didn't know what other people's homes looked like until you went into their house, right? You didn't know what wardrobe they had until you hung out with, like, these things are so time wasting. And so if you feel, and I say this because a lot of our business is connecting with people online, but if you find yourself scrolling, and when you get done scrolling, you feel like crap and you feel low self-esteem, I want you to reorganize who you are allowing in your, I say, like, social media circle. Because for me, like, I want to follow people who are going to better me. Like, I want to follow people who I don't compare myself to, who she's a step, like 10 steps ahead of me. I'm learning from her. And that's what I think you have to be open to. Like, you have to put yourself in the arena of people that are higher than you, that are going to be like a mentor to you, that you're going to feel, some sort of excitement for them, and you want to get to where they are going. And I think that this has to be social media, because if you're following so many people that make you feel like crap, that that you just have to clean up your space, and you have to give yourself permission. It could even be a family member. Guys, it's your life, right? When you die, guess what? Ain't nobody else gonna be, like, I always tell my team, like, what do you want to do when you're on your deathbed? Like, do you want to be like, man, I really wish I could have just went for this whole thing, but Aunt Sally was just really, she just right here, it's like, who cares? Do what you want to do. Don't worry about social media. Post what you want to post. Say what you want to say. Go after that goal and be bold. Okay. I just have to say that because so many people let social media impact the way that they work this business. And I don't want you guys to do that. Jordan?
And Andrea, I'm glad you mentioned the arena. If y'all don't know what she's talking about, it's a quote from Theodore Roosevelt, and we talk about that a lot on our team too. So that is another reason why we chose the diamonds and jewels that we chose to be on this call, because we all we teach the same. We know what works and doesn't. So thank you for bringing that up. I just want to say that.
Yeah. Do you have anything you want to touch on from there?
Well, I was going to go on to page 42, if that's cool.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Awesome. Whenever y'all saw the list of 10, what did y'all think of that? I want to know, like, how y'all thought about that. The one where he was basically talking about, I know I'm being successful when. I want to know y'all's thoughts on this right here. It's pages 42 through 45. So anyway, I want to hear from y'all on this. I'm going to mute myself for a second and just wait for y'all. Give y'all a second to read up.
So I feel like I did this prior to reading the items that he had listed. And then I felt like after I read what he had listed, I was comparing myself and my list to his list and saying, like, mine isn't good enough. Like, so yeah, I was definitely had to rethink some of that.
I love that you said that. I have been doing this for years, but it was not called this. It's called 10 Dreams I Made Happen. And it's something I have literally been doing since I was probably Ruby or senior Ruby. And so I love this visualization, and I love that you did the exercise, Brianna, And if you do this every day, just write down every day. And there's going to be new things that change. Like at one point I wrote on my list, I have somebody come decorate my home for every holiday because I hate decorating my home. I hate it so much. And if you've ever been to my house, you know. And so like there's gonna be new ones that pop up all the time. So I just want to encourage you to keep doing it because you're going to compare less. It's going to feel more like brushing your teeth. And it's going to become more fun, I guess is the word. What else? What did y'all take away from this?
Jordan, do you care to just read some? I'm actually an audio listener and I didn't write them down, but I remember hearing them. But I wrote down like the filtering, kind of like what are you filtering your thoughts through and what you're comparing to? And, does this make sense? Is this in alignment with my values and experience? Yeah. Like, I liked that part. But like I said, once I was listening, I'm like, man, I should have written those down 1 through 10. Do you care to just jot them off?
Yeah, well, I can read some of his, like I can live anywhere in the world I choose, I can disappear for several months with no effect on my income, that kind of stuff. But when I look at our businesses, you guys, if you write down, I'll feel successful when, and you wrote, I'm diamond or I'm emerald, I want to encourage you to not include a rank here because the truth is you are not going to feel happy when you hit a rank. But it's what that rank means to you or the impact of that rank that actually drives you and motivates you and gets you excited and puts you into tears. It is not showing up with 1,500 points in your virtual office. It means nothing, but the impact does, or the feeling of accomplishment or feeling of doing a scary thing or the feeling of feeling important. Or being, and I even wrote on mine at one point in one of my dreams I made happen. It was like, I want to be asked to be a jewel trainer. I want to walk across the stage with a diamond in my hand. Like, I don't care about the rank, right? It was more just like, I was more excited to stand up there with Joanna and Emily by my side with our diamonds, like on stage. Like that was the moment I was really excited for. And the points were wonderful, but I just want to encourage y'all that when you do this, don't include a rank on here. Think about more about the impact or the feeling that comes with that. What did you have on that, Andrea?
So I love this because I think that what he is saying in short is like, if this is not going to get me closer to my dream or my goal, then I'm saying no to it, right? Like have those principles. And I love it because it makes life so simple. How often do we feel so pulled in the direction of, well, I've got to go do this obligation or this and that and the other. And you don't, I love what he said when I think this is probably, he said, if you're not saying hell yeah about something, say no. When deciding whether to do something, if you feel anything less than wow, that would be amazing. Absolutely. Heck yeah. Then say no. And I love that because so often we do things and it's not getting us closer to where we want to be. And it's just wasting time. And that's even like having lunch with a friend. I know that's really hard, but having lunch with a friend, like you can say no to that, right? If it is not like, I remember Melissa Eichenhorst saying like, I say no to lunches all the time because if it's not going to get me closer to where I want to be, or if I know that conversation is not going to better me in some way, like I'm saying no. And I'm like, I love that because how simple does your life get, right? It gets so simple and simple is good. We need simple. Let me see really quick.
Well, and the simple filter Andrea and I were talking about, he asked the question on page 48, will it make the boat row faster? I love that question. And then what she and I were talking about is, will this build a legacy business? And so, and if it doesn't, then do something different. So will this get me the life of my dreams? Yes. Like whatever that question is that you need to filter from, then do that. But like she and I were talking about, we're going to talk here about duplication in a second and some things that we do to grow lots of gold legs. But you guys, at the end of the day, if it's not building a legacy business, if you are not developing senior silvers and golds, then rethink your strategy because otherwise you're going to be spinning your wheels, right? And so, and you're going to feel burnout. And so you have to be developing. So if it's not building a legacy business, it is not worth your time.
Ask yourself that question, like anytime before, if you don't do your IPA that day, ask yourself, is this building a legacy business? Because that will hold you
Is that
to
Netflix show, Building a Legacy Business? Jordan
Right,
Roddenberry? No,
exactly.
Jordan, stop watching Real Housewives.
It's so true. It's like,
I
don't
just said, no, she's not going to give it up.
But if you do your IPA before, then you can, right? It's like a reward. But seriously, yeah. So I love that. I think that question is so great. Like when you're trying to talk yourself out of that, like if I don't send this business message, will this build a legacy business? No, send the message, right? Just send the message, whatever that may be. But do we want to jump into tangibles?
Yeah, unless anybody else has something they want to point out that you love from this chapter. I've literally highlighted the majority of this book, and I'm sure most of y'all have too, but does anybody for just a couple of minutes want to share, anyone for the next couple of minutes want to share what you pulled away from this chapter before we move on to something else? Or something that you felt compelled by.
I'm sorry, I said I wouldn't talk again, but I'm going to say one more thing. So we were at Ruby's on the Rise. Joanna and I were this weekend, or yesterday and Friday. And one of the girls, she's not on our call, but she's a senior Ruby, and we were all sitting around at dinner, and she was talking, or we were talking about like schedules. They asked how much we put into our work daily with Plexus. And I made the comment about how my girls are in school now. And so I usually work like from 9 until 3, like every day. And she was like, really? That's crazy. Almost like that was a lot more than she expected. And she said that her kids were in school now, but she kind of just chooses to like go and run errands and kind of just go do other things. Like she's not working, but yet she's not grown in years and years. And so I just said to her, I think that there's a problem then with like your belief and like what you're working towards, because it's not strong enough to draw you into work. And so on page 35 up at the top, he's talking about where freedom comes from determination. And so I just kind of wrote it out like freedom comes, well, I just wrote this out for me, but basically he's saying freedom comes from determination, which comes from ownership and independence and intrinsically motivated. And so I feel like so often we want that freedom, but we're not willing to like work for it. And so we're choosing to go and do the things that feel good, or the things that we could do when our kids are home, or the things that we could do when our spouses are home, or our spouses could possibly help us with. Like we're putting those things in front of us sitting down and building that freedom that we say we want. But I feel like if we're not consistent and we're not actually working towards it, I think we've got to look and see, what do we actually believe about this business? Do I actually think I can do this? And what am I doing to get to that freedom?
I love that. Thank you. Anybody else want to share? I'd love to pull at least one more before we move on.
I just really liked the reminder of running your own race. And that's when your quiet confidence increases when you run your own race. Like we kind of talked about at the beginning, the comparison, like the trap of all, no matter where you are, what rank you are, what you've achieved, you can always compare to someone who's farther along and feel less than, but stay in your lane. Like I highlighted that because it's like, that's really all that matters when you're headed to what you outline as success, for sure. And living in a self-determined way. I feel like self-determination and self-discipline is something that is kind of like a voice that I project and like am confident in, because I am a self-disciplined person. Oftentimes like reminding myself of that when I feel like I didn't accomplish enough, or think I should be farther along than I am. That it's just like kind of like a reminder of celebrating the success in the journey along the way.
Yeah, and I don't know about y'all, but I actually see a lot of people getting in the gap when they compare themselves to something they have done before that they're not currently doing. And so I see more people getting in the gap because of that level of comparison. Well, I remember when I did this, or, I fast started to this. And I almost hate fast start senior gold at this point, because I'm like, you know what? Like, these girls, go fast start senior gold, they didn't develop, and then they get like a little burnt out, a little tired, and then they haven't developed, and then they fall back in points and like, well, I went fast start one time, but man, that was hard. I don't know if I can do that again. And then all these red light stories come, right? So you guys, we have got to guard our mind of not just comparison on social media and out and externally, but are you comparing yourself against something you used to do or that you have done before? I have done that. And I, for a while, created a red light story that I could not create senior goals. For almost a year and a half, I did not create a level 1 senior goal because I was telling myself I couldn't do it because I had 2 or 3 of them quit. And I think I just need y'all to know that your past does not determine your future. It just gives you a little bit of a roadmap of what you need to do next. So, not sure if you're there. Also, we're about to move on to some duplication, but I need y'all to know something, because if y'all think that me or Emily or Joanna or Andrea or Marissa, that we are like immune to hard things, I need y'all to know this, okay? Last year, I had 2, I was debating on whether or not I should tell y'all this, but I want y'all to know that there is stability and growth and fun in this business, even when things are not going the way you want them to go. Last year, I had 2 level 1 jewels stop working. I also had 2 senior gold level 1s quit. So that is 4 runners all within a 12-month span. My points have not dropped. Now, that is the beauty of duplication, staying wide, and digging in when things are hard. You can always choose to be, woe is me, this is hard. Is it hard? Yes. But the things that you can control is continuing to build no matter what. So, was that a hard season? Yeah, I had a baby in the middle. So that was a little bit like, but our points did not drop. In fact, they are higher now than they were 12 months ago. And so I need y'all to know that you're not the only one that has people quitting, but I can tell you right now that you have to control what you can control, and that is duplication. And Andrea is going to talk about that.
Okay, also, Jordan, remember that video you did of team cycling? I know you said it's a race now. You need to redo that, because I referenced that on
Man,
my
I was
team.
so mad when they got rid of that.
I know. I'm always tell my team, I'm like, team cycling. And then I'm like, Jordan did this amazing video, but it's gone now. And I really need you to do that again, because it truly is about team cycling. And what Jordan said is, we don't have the secret sauce, right? As diamonds, as emeralds, as sapphires, like if you're on here and you're like, man, they must have like this, like, I remember thinking, like, right before I went emerald for the first time, like, there's got to be, like, I cannot wait to get in the jewel page, because I know that's where all the secret lies for me to get to diamond. Guys, there's no secret. There is no secret. You have to have grit. That is the secret. You have to, like when Jordan said that she had 2 jewels quit, you have to keep going. You have to have the energy, and you have to have that vision and that why to keep going, because you're not only for yourself, but you have your team that is relying on you, right? Like, all of these people trusted you to join you. And when you were in the good of your business, you were there, you were excited. But when your business isn't where you want it to be, you don't have permission to step out, right? Like, you don't have that permission to, back in and people not see. You have to be visible even when it sucks, right?
Hey, I'm going to add to this really quick, because I remember Tamara Holloway doing a video years ago. And y'all, when I started, I watched literally, if Tamara said to do it, I did. I still listen to every word she says. But she said that. She was like, whenever a true leader, when things are hard and you see them step up, not back. And I took that and I was like, oh crap, that sounds really hard to do, but I will do it, Tamara.
And just like Jordan said, like, that gives you fuel, and you learn lessons through that hard time, because quitting is easy, right? Quitting's easy during the hard seasons. It's so easy to quit, but I guarantee that it's not going to get you any closer to your goal, to your dreams, to that freedom that you want. And that is why I think that list, like I feel successful when, is really important, because it's going to really get you on the straight and narrow of, hey, if this doesn't align, or hey, if I'm feeling a certain way, like, is this aligning with that list of 10? And so I want you guys to know that, because my points have dropped. I've yo-yoed. I've had people quit on me. You know, we're just in the industry of sales, and people are going to quit. People are going to tell you no. And you just have to be okay with that. You have to know why you're here. And if you're excited, and if you're energetic about it, your team is going to see that, right? And it's all about digging in. And so this is where I'm going to talk about duplication, because duplication and creating leaders, creating a business builder, is all about digging in. It's all about digging in, right? Business builders are not just found. Like, you just don't find a business builder and they're like, okay, like, whatever. That's a unicorn, if so, if that happens. But like Jordan said, like, if you get someone, like right now, this month she will be Fast Start Gold, but I have made sure that I have taught her how to duplicate, right? Because like Jordan said, they get tired. It's new to them. Being 0 to gold, that's a lot. And so how many of you have developed a gold? I want you to drop a 1 in the comments. Okay. I want you to ask yourself, have you gotten that person past gold? If you've gotten that person past gold, drop a 2 in the comments. Okay. All right. So here's what I see, and this is what Jordan and I were talking about, is a lot of the time, gold is a really hard place, right? Gold is a really hard place, one, as someone coming in, because now you have this team of like 20-ish people, right? And you're like, what the heck? Like, whoa, I have this team of 20 people. If they're not duplicating, they're feeling like, oh my gosh, I've got to add. And especially if they came in quick, they're thinking, oh my gosh, like this month was so different from the last 2 months, because, they're like flying out of a cannon and they're like adding a bunch of people. But I always tell them, it is not normal to add as many people as you have been adding. We have to learn how to duplicate these people, because you want sustainability. You want to have people growing underneath you, and you don't always want to be recruiting with no duplication underneath you. And so one of the things that I have been doing with my new Fast Start, well, she's not Fast Start Gold yet, but she will be this month, is I have been telling her, so from the beginning, I want you guys, I'm going to go through just quickly, because I don't think we can hear it enough, is just the onboarding process, right? This has helped her feel so confident in her business. If you're new person, because this month is the month that you want to build a business builder. Like, if you want to continue success next month, you have to build a business builder. Like, you have to get someone to silver. You have to get someone to senior silver, to gold. Like, it is a non-negotiable this month, right? It's the 6th, 17th of the month. We still have like an eternity left. Like, like the second half of the month is like 2 years in network marketing, right? Like, don't you guys agree? Like, there's so much you can do in these next few weeks that you can turn someone into a silver, senior silver, or gold. And you want to cast vision along the way. That's how you're going to get them to stick until get them stick in April. Okay. So what I always do is I have them get on the phone. Like, on our team, we are old school. I'm like, just get on the phone, because you miss so much connection. It takes 5 minutes. Like, if you don't have 5 minutes out of your day to get on the phone with a level 1, like, this is the business of like connection, right? And like, you get the opportunity to talk to them a little bit, get to know them a little bit. And you get to ask them, hey, you get to tell them like, hey, most people, I have them say, hey, most people make a post because they're so excited to get started. Would you be open to that? And if they say yes, I'm saying, hey, hold on 1 second. Let me grab that post. I'm going to send it to you right now. I grab the post. I have it in my notes. I send it to them, and I send a picture of a pink drink or whatever, if they want to post a picture of themselves, whatever. And I send it to them. Okay. So I have trained my new level 1, who is literally brand new. I'm like, I'm going to do the first few. Like, I get on these calls with her when we sign people up, because I want her to hear me talk to her people, and how I am communicating with them, how I'm making small talk, and then how I ask the question. Okay. Then I told her, I'm like, it's your turn. And I'm like, it's okay to be nervous. It's okay if you mess up. Like, it's no big deal. I was like, literally, when I first started, I remember telling someone that about the Pro Bio 5, but I was actually describing the Bio Cleanse and vice versa. And like, they never knew. They didn't know. I was just like, I got off the phone. I was like, oh my God, you totally screwed that up. But I signed her up and it was totally fine. you just have to have confidence. That's what I was like, just be excited. If your voice is high and you're excited and you're smiling on the phone, nobody can see you, but you can hear, they can hear that tone. Okay. So she's been doing this. She's got shout outs. We've had 3 wellness events for her already, or for her level 1s, right? She's duplicating, and it's making it so much easier for her to get to gold, right? Like she has been able to add people on her levels 2s, or on her level 2, so that she can get to gold, right? And she's not having to feel like she's like depleting, right? Like she's like, oh my gosh, like, I have, the whole thing, like I have no one else to reach out to. And I'm showing her how to fill her funnel along the way. Okay. And so as we're doing this, they ask her to post. I have her put them in a 3-way with me. You guys, this is really important. Put your upline in a 3-way and just say like, hey, this is blah, 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 blah. I just want to have an extra layer of support in case I'm, at a doctor's appointment with my son or whatever, and you can't get a hold of me. I want her to be your next like line of connection. Also too, when people go through detox, sometimes it's weird. You guys know this. They don't want to talk to their sponsor, but they will talk to some stranger about their pooping problems and why they haven't been taking their BioCleanse. I don't know, but it really helps that they at least know your name, right? So you can come in and like talk to them. But it also gets them in that community, okay? And I love what my Heather, she always says, like, when they have make a post, and she's always like, hey, your post may or may not get a lot of traction, but that's why a lot of people just go ahead and do a wellness event. And so she just kind of has that wellness event as kind of a springboard so that they can go ahead and just start inviting people right away, and then they can get those signups. Like, so it kind of just helps, because you just never know if the post is going to flop or not, but that's so normal, because I always tell people like what you're doing is new, and people are probably just kind of like, well, like, hey, what is she doing? I want to see, being consistent and all of those things. So I'm doing these things as the onboarding, okay? Next is, of course, as you're going through gold, and Jordan, stop me if you want to pop in here at any time. Okay, so next thing that I do is any hurdle that they feel like they're, having issues with, or an objection or whatever, I am going and finding a video for them, a training video of some sort, because no, I'm going to tell them, I'm going to tell them how I feel and my experience, because I always say, hey, listen, I've been there, blah, 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 blah. But I also have this video from Jordan, or I also have this video from Christina Williams, or whoever it may be. And then I feed that into them. Guys, you don't have to a week on things that I know are popping through her head. Like, my funnel's dry, or I can't get anybody to share, or like just these things that they think is happening, or maybe I can't, whatever. So I am giving her these videos because that's building her belief. And I know Jordan has also talked about doing diamond documentaries, finding things that are going to build their belief, because if we're vision casting along the way and we're sprinkling these little things along the way, they're going to be sold. Like, they're going to be here to stay, right? And you're going to be able to help them and have that communication with them, because if you don't ever do any of that from silver to gold, guys, they're going to quit. Like, it's just, unless they are just like strong-minded without any like third-party validation from other people that have done this, they want to feel, because I know when I was gold, I always watched training videos, Sonia Dudley, Tamara Holloway, like all these people, right? Because I was like, okay, like I need to have validation that like what I'm feeling is okay, and like that I can get past it, right? And so that's what I feel like is really helping her right now. Like, she's excited. I told her, I was like, your energy, your excitement, like, and you have to speak truth to them too, right? Like, you can't be afraid to skate around the truth. Like, I told her, I was like, you're going to have people quit. And it's going to suck, but guess what? It's nothing that you did if you follow our follow-up system, right? Like, if you're giving them good customer service, it's normal. Like, I already prepared her for the suck, right? Like, it's how it is, right? But I've also like asked her, okay, what would an extra $2,000 do for you? I've made her write those things down. Like, what would it feel like to, to have that extra $2,000, to have her visualize those things, right? And so just making sure that you're getting in contact with these with your level 1s, and we're doing one-on-one Zooms. And here's the thing. Maybe it's not a brand new level 1 gold, right? Maybe it's not a fast start gold. Maybe you're going through your back office. Was it Melissa Eichenhorst that had the 7, who's your 74, your 72? Do you guys remember that video? Oh, so good. But go back through your back office. Click the team points, right? Go back to the last month. Who is close to ranking? Simply send them a message. Help your level 1 who is like wanting to get the, who's wanting to rank or whatever that may be this month, help them get on a Zoom and do one-on-one digging with them. Have them send the message of, hey, listen, this month I have a goal to help, 10 people have a wellness party. And I just thought maybe you would want to have one. I'll send you a goodie bag of like my favorite Plexus products in exchange. Like, you never know until you ask. And you could literally ask these people, like, maybe you've asked them to share, 5 different times before, but this could be the time they're like, oh my gosh, an Apple Watch, or wow, I've seen your like income posts, whatever in your stories. I want that extra $500, that extra $800. Like, you never know what someone is going through, or what they, or like a change in their like mind about the opportunity, and just ask. Like, these are the things that I feel like have really helped me develop a Fast Start Gold in the last, she started sharing in February, since February, right? And so it's just having and making sure that like I hear her, right? Then I'm asking her like, hey, how are you feeling? Like, talk to me about these things, because the last thing I want to do is her to have these like thoughts about, whatever she's feeling, and not talk to me about it, and let me help her work through these things. But I'm having her, go through her post, message the likes. Like, these are things I know you guys probably know these, like, go through Instagram, look and people, see who like viewed her story. Just all of those different things. We're going to have another wellness event for her, because why not? Like, rinse and repeat, it doesn't always have to be something new and complicated. Just do what works. And I truly believe that keeping it simple for them in the beginning, but also not being afraid to expose them to what can be when they hit gold, or what can be when they hit ruby and they can make, X amount of money. So just having that vision. Anything you want to touch on, Jordan?
Well, I just want to say a couple of things. There's 2 different types of people, I feel like, that can go gold, and then maybe they don't, because we all know. I think at one point I counted, I had like 14 level 1 golds that had quit at some point. Like, not everyone that goes gold will go past that. And I feel like there's 2 different categories. One is somebody who maybe went Fast Start Gold, and I didn't give them all the things that they needed. I didn't give them enough podcasts along the way. I didn't help them develop a big enough vision, because they were just kind of rolling on their own. And so I was like, well, just go do your own thing. And I was kind of afraid to like mess it up. Again, there's fear in there on my end. I probably didn't give them enough. But the other side of that is somebody goes Fast Start Gold, or gold in general, and maybe 130 points, 150 points, and they realize that this is a job and they don't want a job. And so there's going to be people who fall in those categories that you did all the things you could. So I would rather go in there with tough love, big vision, sharing my belief, letting them know, hey, I just had somebody quit too. We're in this together, giving them all the information they need, giving them everything they need to be successful, not being fearful of running them off, and them quit, then me give them halfway information, and then they don't continue. Yes, leave it all on the court. Thank you, Brittany. That was much shorter said than what I just said. So I really quick just want to tell y'all, because everyone here, I know we all want to create more golds, and it is necessary to create your first diamond. You have to go help them go gold first. So I just want to tell you a couple of examples of how I have helped girls come on and go gold. My very first gold ever, her name was Alex. I had never met her before. She told me she couldn't afford her products. So I called her and said, hey, will you let me get your products paid for? And she said, sure. And I lived in a different state than her. And I said, okay, well, I'll be there in a week. I'm going to come to your house. Shoot me your address. So I got her address, drove to her house, sat at her kitchen table with her, and walked her through info sheets, showed her how to use our group that was like super new at the time. And we did some 3-way messages together. And I showed her where diamond documentaries were. Like that, it was very simple. Oh, and I showed her messages. Like I had like a little template of like messages and how to sign people up. And y'all, she went gold. I drove to her house. When's the last time you did a scary thing, like showed up to a stranger's house and showed them how to do this business? Another girl that I helped go gold was purely on 3-way messages. She did not want to share, but she was willing to give out samples. Every single person she'd give a sample to, she put it in a 3-way message with me. I would tell them what it was and how to take it. And then we would talk, and I literally helped her sign almost every single person up all the way to senior gold. Was that worth my time? 100% yes. When is the last time you were willing to put in a little bit of time or a lot of time to help your points grow by 250? And so I just want to like you got to be willing to put in the elbow grease. You got to be willing to get creative. And I just know that your belief in them means everything. I just helped a girl go, I don't know, she may be on this call or not. She's been sick this week. Rebecca, if you're on, shout out to you. But she just went fast start, not fast start Ruby, but almost fast start Ruby. And I asked her in the beginning, I said, what did I do to help you? And she was like, well, I mean, you gave me information and everything, but the biggest thing you could have done was just give me bite-sized goals that got me excited. So little tiny goals, almost weekly. And she said, your belief in me was everything, because I didn't believe that I could do this. And so, and that looked like me not just celebrating her with gifts and things like that, but just sending her like, oh my, like you just hit this leaderboard, or oh my gosh, like I can't, you've already added this many, it's this many days of the week. You realize most people don't do that. Like you are special. You're doing things right. Like calling out what you see in them. And y'all, that takes time. You have to be in your virtual office. You have to be watching their Facebook walls and their Instagrams to send them screenshots of their really great posts and stories. And so, anyway, just getting in there. It takes some time. Those are things you can't check off on an IPA sheet as leaders, but they are things that are highly impactful. So that's all I got, Andrea.
That's all I got too. I mean, honestly, I feel like just like Jordan said, like making it impactful, having that, being bold and knowing that like what you have right now and speaking that truth into either someone that has been on your team or someone that is brand new, and just being okay with overcoming objections, right? Not being scared that they're going to leave, right? Not having that scarcity of being like, okay, if I tell them this, they're going to leave. Because most likely, even with anything that we do with a new customer or a new business builder, when you speak truth to them, whether they are a new product user and they're quitting after 30 days because they haven't seen any weight loss, if you're straight up with them and if you're like, listen, unwinding, 30 years of whatever, antibiotics, junk food, blah, 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 in 30 days, that's just unrealistic. But I really would love for you to give it a try for another 30 days. Like realistically, it's going to take 90 to 120 days. Like, because let's be honest, come on, like some people's bodies are real out of whack and they want to lose weight quick or whatever it may be, or autoimmune issue. But if you're straight up with them and you're willing to get on the phone with them, you're willing to do that one-on-one with them. I have people like that have been with me for 8 years that were hard customers. I have people on my team that were, hard people to raise up as business builders, right? But they're still with me because I'm going to speak truth, because it does them zero if I am not truthful with them. My team knows this. I speak truth because I don't want to do them a disservice, right? I want them to thrive and have a successful business. And I know that if you feel the same way about your newbie or whatever that may be, and you're bold with them, like it's going to do both of you guys good. So yeah.
Yeah. And Kate asked, what are examples of bite-sized goals? Well, we do ALA on our team. So that's adding 3, and we celebrate it like it's a party, like it's Christmas, right? Like it's a big deal. Some other bite-sized goals would be creating a silver. And that is something I talk about very early on. Like, hey, listen, you go add 3, you help somebody, you go help somebody add 3. So when they create their first silver, like you celebrate that like it's a rank up day. Obviously hitting new ranks, there's contest points. We can't see them, so we got to be in there with them. And so that's another one. It's like, hey, where are your convention points? Oh my gosh, you just hit the first level and you are brand new, you're silver. Like, this is incredible. And so there's just so many wins along the way. And also like, so when I was, I think it was a month we went Ruby, we did our very first gold retreat. And so it was like, oh my gosh, like you're only 6 away from hitting this retreat. Like you got to spend money to make money. And so, and obviously, okay, also retreats are not a tool. I'm just prefacing this. Retreats are not a tool to get you in momentum. Retreats are a tool to help continue in momentum. So don't just like think you can like schedule a retreat and then like all of a sudden you have 80,000 gold. So I just wanted to preface that before everyone just goes and creates a gold retreat. So there's a few. Anybody have questions about tonight? Do you have anything that's burning on your heart that you want help with? Anything that we said that you're like, I want more on this? Questions? We love questions.
Joe, do you feel like you did anything different with Rebecca than like anyone? Obviously she has influence, right? And she's, especially the girls under her that she got so quickly to share. But do you personally feel like you did anything different with her than you do with your other girls? No.
Mm-mm. No, I really don't. I think, in fact, I may have done less because Miller is such a bear for the last 6 months. I think that I actually felt at capacity for a lot of the times. And so what I could give her, the best thing I could give her was my belief in her, because I wasn't necessarily sending all the messages that I need to all the time to share with her, or, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, I would say no, not at all.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
Hey Jordan, I just put in the chat. What are
Yeah.
you doing for girls who, like, I've had some come in and they want to share, but they just have no like influence on social media, but they are like
Yeah.
working their tails off.
Yeah. And so there's a couple of things, like I've actually toyed with this a lot. I'm like, okay, do I just tell them, hey, listen, you don't have the reach on social media. And a lot of the times those people will, whenever they come on, they will tell you ahead of time, hey, I don't really know like if I'm gonna be able to do this on social media, and you can go see, right? And so what I really believe I can help anybody get 3 if they're willing to get their hands dirty. And I really work on helping them find something that they can go interact with people with, something that they can build a little bit of value, start building value. Yeah, a sip and see is a great one. Have them invite some friends and family in person. But on social media, I just try and really help up engagement for them. And I find one thing that they can go add value about. Maybe it's their garden, maybe it's their kids, maybe it's their whatever, just to start realizing like, hey, we got to talk about more than our cats on Facebook. And I like to get on a phone call with them and help them send messages. But here's the truth. Like I had a girl last month come to me and say, hey, I can't buy these products without going silver. I said, okay. I said, let's do some messages. She goes, I have no one. I said, well, can we try just anyone? Like I went to her most recent post, sent screenshots. Hey, can we message you? So she goes, no, no, we can't message them. Okay. So she signed no one, y'all, and she quit. But I cannot help that, right? And so it happens. It happens. Was there another question in the chat?
I'm curious about if your team, or kind of just like, do you do like the whole 1-2 pack? My team recommends this pack or this pack, and that's all we do. Or do you get the full picture and really customize it for each person? Because I think sometimes my medical background as a nurse practitioner, like I get all the nitty gritty, and I like learn. It's like an ancient P to me, but it's like, do I need that? Because then I like feel like people don't feel confident in recommending, or they overcomplicate it, or they're like letting people out of the car because they needed all the questions. And so I'm like, how do I get rid of that background of myself of be like, it's fine, and just
So you don't need to get rid of the background. You just need to make your system more duplicatable.
like what packages do you go to, and like how? Because everyone, what do you offer? If I did streamline it, what would you recommend as option A or option B?
Yeah,
because I definitely think right now the hang up is I'm doing everything because everyone's scared to recommend. They don't know what the price is. And Allie will come in and save the day, but Allie's tired. So
yeah,
we need to figure this out.
So you got to make your system a little more duplicatable, in my opinion. And also I don't know if this is the same, but I used to do this because I really thought, like, I was like, man, I'm really good at this. So like, I would like be in my chat, and like, especially when I was younger and very immature in my business. And I would do everything for everyone all the time. And I had to realize that other people were really good at that skill too. I just wasn't giving them the room to be good at it. I was just taking over all the time. And so what I would do if I were you is get really clear on the steps you're using, questions you're asking, and make it duplicatable to your team. And then I am typically like our team a lot, like I'm a triplex girl. I'm just going to give you triplex and active a lot of the time because that's what everybody needs. But yeah, I would just make it more duplicatable. And I seriously stick with like triplex active, triplex ease, triplex.
So everyone gets
Yeah.
like digestion. Do you ask about their bathroom habits to know if they need the 120 or the 60?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
those
for
things.
sure. And this is what we've done is everybody gets a symptoms chart. And then here are the 3 questions that you ask. And then once they ask those questions, you'd be like, hey, well, this is what I recommend. And they can either go in your thread and be like, hey, this is their symptom chart. And this is what I think they recommend. And that's another thing for you, Allie, is when somebody comes to you and says, hey, what do I recommend? Be like, what do you think you need to recommend? And don't answer their questions. Let them answer their own questions. And then you'd be like, yeah, great job. So then just let them run. Yeah. So I would just make it very duplicatable. Lauren, were you about to say something actually? Okay. I was just about to say, I was about to shout you out, but you just go ahead and talk. Yeah, you tell us.
Okay. So I will say in the beginning that was like super overwhelming for me. But there is a post that we have in our team page that gives like a list of like health struggles, and like right next to it is like a list of things that we would recommend to start with. And it's been very helpful. It needs to be updated, to be honest, because there's like accelerator and block and like some old products on there. But something that was really encouraging to me was we had, what's the girl that just went diamond? Demi?
Kinley.
Kinley. I knew it ended with an I. Anyways, because I think we asked her, like we talked to her about this same question, like, how do you sign people up so quickly? And how do you, what do you recommend? And she basically said, this is what I'm taking. I feel really great. Like, this is what you need to. Like, honestly, it wasn't like a whole lot of thought went into it. Yeah, there's going to be some people that you're going to want to ask some more questions about. But to be honest, she was just very confident, like, this is what I'm taking, this is what's helping me, and this is what I recommend for everybody.
What'd
So
she
yeah,
say? What did she recommend 90% of the time? Do you have that?
honestly, probably triplex, but I don't know.
Triplex.
Probably. I will say we sign 90% of the people with triplex. And then the second thing I was going to tell you is that I don't really give people 2 options. Like I have two options in my head. Like I have a big pack option, then I have a small pack option. But I always lead with the big pack and I say, hey, this is what I recommend and this is why I recommend it. And if they come back with a cost objection, then I can say, oh, well, this is the second, this is the second pack that I would recommend to help with the cost if this works better for you. So I always have the smaller one in the back of my head, but yeah. And I'll try to find that post and I'll have Jordan, maybe she can update it and we can send it to you.
And we need to update the combo flow because I feel like that's what your team needs, Allie. It's just like, hey,
I don't know. My couple
Maybe
of
they
my
have.
friends, we have that'd be fine. I'd love to see yours. I feel like ours is, I don't know.
Probably
I think I
similar.
have a PowerPoint on that too.
I could just
Yes, we do.
hard on myself too.
I feel like I have
I'm doing like the
Canva
diamond
thing on
sprints
it.
and they keep saying like triplex balance is all they need. But I'm like, it's not the best for everybody. So like, if that is what all these people are growing with, then I guess I'll try triplex balance for the next 6 people that I start on. But I still, like I said, I feel like sometimes I like make it a little bit more. Maybe I'm just doing more work than I need to, but
Yeah. Well, I can honestly tell you, I've never sold a bottle of balance. So
okay.
If that makes you feel better.
Yeah, I'll take that. We have that one of those, like, it's kind of lengthy. Like, I probably wrote one of those that you might see floating around for recommendations. But I was just curious if there's like 1 to 2 to 3 packages of like, and here's why and here's how. But it's fine. No big deal. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions they all have that we can answer before we hop off? I actually do have a question. I feel like you have a question. You're like staring a hole in my soul right now.
Yeah, I do have so I have a handful, or not a handful. I have a few girls who went gold, like probably more like 2022 is when they were like in the heat of their business. And since then, they really don't have a business other than subs that are running. None of them have added recently. And I have tried to get them excited about sharing again. And I feel like every attempt I've made has just kind of fell flat. And so I'm wondering if there's anything that you can, or any, like, would you start with, like, I guess figuring out if they even want this, right, is probably where we would even need to start. So just
Yeah, Andrea, I'm totally taking over. So you can tell me, do you want, I can answer this one, but I didn't. Okay. Here's what I have found is that the only thing that is going to motivate someone to come back in and move is that they believe in themselves, that they know that they can do it. And so that's the only thing I can offer them is, hey, I'm just reminding you that you are really good at this. And if this is something you ever want to jump back in on, I'm here. I know you can do this. I want to do this with you. And then you can be their friend. So that's 1. 2 is be their friend. 3 is move on without them. There is no greater motivator for your current team than to see new team come in, do the things. Oh, this is possible. Speed is fun. I remember I am good at that, right? And so those are that would be my 3 is you have to keep moving on. You have to just be their friend, remind them what they're capable of, because you know what they're capable of. They're probably living in some sort of fear or shame. And then whatever my first one was. Because I wasn't writing as you were talking.
remind them that they're really good at this.
Yes, the belief building part. Because the truth, I always think of this as like, if I quit my workouts, like if I was working out with a trainer, I quit my workouts, I'm probably at home eating ice cream, feeling sorry for myself. I'm embarrassed to go back. And I need that trainer to come to me and be like, hey, listen, I've got a class at 6 a.m. at this day. It's a bunch of newbies. I want you to come back. I know you can do this. You were feeling so good. Let me remind you of why you started in the first place, right? And so I like to think of it in that way when I'm going back to them. Okay. Thank y'all so much for tonight. Thank y'all for the conversation. I hope y'all are loving this book as much as I am. And I really want y'all to go find a new silver this month if you haven't already. And if you have already, go find another one, because that is going to bring you joy. It's going to bring momentum. It's going to bring fun. So go find you a new silver. And every action, if every action is not leading to creating a legacy business, creating silvers, then it is not worth your time. Okay? Okay. All right. Bye.